Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Now, if you watched my guide last week on the Soviet Union, you will know how we got to this point. We are ready to fight Germany, we are ready to fight World War II. Now, if you haven't watched that video yet, this will not make much sense, most likely, so I suggest you watch the video. I will include the link up here. You will see how our strategy got us to this point. We are at war with Germany, but Germany is currently stuck on this front, fighting our Netherlands, and still they haven't defeated Belgium. Now, in this video, what we're going to talk about is how to defeat Germany as fast as possible, how to win against Germany and then Italy and the remaining members of the Axis, and finish World War II with the Soviet Union. For what concerns our armies, I covered this in the last video, but I will briefly recap it just in case. Now we're going to do most of the pushing with the tanks. Our tanks are positioned here, ready to push on this front. We have the motorized units just behind them. We have our main army on the north to protect this front. Our secondary army is on the southern part of the front. And we also have a defensive army covering the entire front. For our second theater, we use it to cover the southern front. We don't do much with it. We have our mountaineers here in the mountain. We have our defensive army here with some help from the cavalry. And finally, we have one last main army here waiting for orders, just in case anyone needs additional help. Now, as soon as the war starts, you should pick Heroes Forward. And if you can, as soon as you can, you should also pick We Will Accomplish a High Yield. Now, make sure that you have all of your planes assigned. As you can see, we had a lot of planes in here which were not assigned yet. We can assign them all to our tank army. Look at this amount of planes. We are going to use them heavily for our pushes. Now, it's December. This is not the best time to push. There is already heavy snow. This is a bit unlucky because Germany declared war to us a bit later than usual. But we are not going to care. We are still going to push with our tanks. We're going to use force attack. And we're going to start this offensive. Now, initially it will be a struggle. That's normal. Our planes are not in position yet. They are getting there. Hopefully. Yeah, they are getting there. Okay, there we go. Now we got the full air superiority. And despite the fact that we are advancing in heavy snow, with a river crossing, our amazing tanks are still able to push. This is not exactly the Barbarossa the Germans planned. And look at this, in just a few weeks we got Warsaw back. Okay, after this first push is done, it's probably time to reorganize our armies a little bit. We're going to prepare our tanks for another push along these two rivers. The goal is to conquer this area here. We're going to make sure that the main army covers the upper front. And the bottom army covers the bottom front, which they were not doing at the moment. Now, they finally reworked the medals, and they're actually pretty cool now. So you can just click here, you can click here, and you can give your divisions a medal. Now, they're all pretty decent, but in my opinion, the best one is the extra division organization, especially with the Soviet Union, which has some malices on division organization. Germans have a lot of units in here, so this is not an easy push, but our tanks will get it done. If you see your tanks pushing up here, try to stop them, because we don't really want to take this area. We actually want to get to the sea on this side. Now, at this point, you can also decrease the production of planes a little bit. We can bring them down to maybe 15, and we can put the extra production back into tanks so that we get our new tanks a bit faster. Now, since it looks like we are not going to need this army that we kept here for emergencies, we can actually select them and we can send them to the Netherlands. They will go through quite a trip to get there, because these straits are locked, so they will go all the way up here and then they will go by boat. That's fine, we don't need them to be there fast. Alright, now that we are getting closer to the sea, we want to complete our encirclement of the units which are in there, and we want to take this area for ourselves. We can start the offensive with our tanks. Now, as you get to the coast up here, you may have some nice encirclements. This was the case for us right now. So let's go on and destroy as many of them as possible. The next goal is to kill all of the units they have in here. Now, as we start getting our second army of tanks, you can assign them to the theater number 2 and you can send them to the Netherlands. And let's start pushing them before they have time to retreat. This is likely to be a massacre. You will destroy a lot of their divisions in here. Yeah, that's a lot of units in there. They will all die. Completely destroyed. Now we can rearrange our armies a little bit. We're actually losing a bit of ground on this side. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to regain control of this front alongside the river. Okay, now that we have the river, I have a nice border to defend. We can rearrange our tanks. We can start using them up here to prepare our push for Berlin. Meanwhile, we completely destroyed the German Air Force. Look at the amount of fighters they lost. Okay, I will start this offensive. We have no supplies, but I think we can do it anyway with these tanks. We're going to use force attack. Just to make sure we get over the river and we get closer to Berlin. I think that will also solve our problems with supplies. We're very close to Berlin. And Berlin is down. Now that Berlin is down, Germany is almost fucked. And we can start thinking about using these tanks to push on this side. So we should stop training them. And we should prepare them for an offense on this side. Maybe something like this. And looks like our tanks in here can push as well, so let's do it. We almost joined our two armies here. At this point, I'm just trying to push as quickly as possible, rush some of the victory points, and this war should be over pretty soon. At least the part against Germany, of course. Actually got a pretty nice encirclement in here. Yeah, I think we'll get Vienna and the war will be over with Germany. That's it. Yeah, 180,000 casualties for us. 1.6 million for Germany. The German Reich is defeated. The war is not over yet, of course. There we go. Technically, what's left is only Italy. But the thing is, once we defeat Italy, actually, it will say that we also need to defeat Hungary, and then also Romania, and then also Bulgaria. So we'll actually need to defeat all of them, which is not a problem, of course. We're going to use our main tanks for Italy. We're going to attack them from here. What we're going to do with our additional tanks is we're going to position them here, ready to push for Hungary and Slovakia. Actually, we're going to start the push as soon as possible. To be fair, with the right preparation, with the setting that I gave you, this war is fairly simple. Now, although we don't have supplies at the moment, and the reason we don't have supplies is that this area of Germany, which we just occupied, takes some time to activate, 5 days, to be precise. But Italy doesn't actually have units here, so we can still just go and possibly use motorized as well. The important thing at this point is that France doesn't take anything before us. We can also use our other tanks to start pushing on this side. Right, Italy is in a civil war, which means we basically won the war against Italy, but now as Italy gets into a civil war, we now need to defeat Bulgaria as well, in addition to the Repubblica Sociale Italiana. We're going to transfer the territory to our occupied Italy, because that's basically stuff we get for free at the end of the war. Meanwhile, with our second army, we can take out some of this front. Now, at this point of the war is almost over, to be fair. You can check the score and you will see that we have about 51%. That's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. Now, one of the reasons for that is that we have fairly low casualties. If you look at the losses, we got almost 2 million in our faction, but only 200,000 from us. And losses are actually very important to get war score. So, at this point, if you don't care about losses and you want to increase your war score, what I suggest doing is just attacking with all of your units. So, for example, here we have... no, wait, where is this army? Oh, this army is here. Okay. 24 boys in here doing nothing. Well, yeah, we don't really need them, but I mean, you can just assign them here. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is that someone like them, you can just tell them to attack like this. And forget about them. Same thing for them. You can tell them to attack like this. Yeah, so we're just going full in offensive to maximize our war score, possibly with some additional casualties. Hungary is down. Let's check what we are still left with. Bulgaria needs to go down. Now Bulgaria is a bit annoying because they are far, but that's okay. Now, of course, as you can see very well, this is a complete mess. But not a very impactful one in the sense that, well, clearly this war is over. We're just waiting to catch Bulgaria and then it will be officially over. Okay, now the war should be officially over. And that's the case. Okay, so let's pause for a second. And let's give this a look. Now, well, I like how Poland is like right there. A couple of pieces. That being said, as you could see, we dominated this war. We got 261,000 casualties, and that's actually trying to get more casualties around the end of the war. Otherwise, we would have had a bit less than that. We completely destroyed Germany, and once Germany was down, of course, the other opponents were not really relevant for our armies. The tanks performed extremely well. Now, I actually tried this run even without tanks and with a superior firepower, with an infantry-focused Soviet Union. And I could win this war a bit later in November of 1941. So it was a bit slower with about 3 times the casualties, I would say. And with a slightly higher war score. That is because, of course, the war being a bit longer and the casualties higher, it's actually beneficial in terms of war score. But yeah, so it's up to you. You can go for infantry and superior firepower as well. Of course, pushing into Germany, especially at the beginning, is a bit harder. You need to wait a bit longer to break their defenses, to decrease their manpower. As you could see with tanks, we could destroy them extremely well. So this is, for me, more fun, for sure. No doubts about that. Maybe a bit less efficient in terms of war participation, but it was more fun. Well, other than that, yeah. Very successful campaign with the Soviet Union. I will officially end the war now. We'll continue, but I will not show you the peace conference. So as soon as the war is over, I will consider this video and this tutorial done. Of course, from here, you can do whatever you want. You can fight another war against the Allies, which means mostly France and the United Kingdom. I actually haven't tried, so we'll need to see what happens with the United States. Currently, the United States are not part of the Allies. They are not at war. So everything is more or less open at this point of the game. Or you can attack Japan if that's what you decide to do. So we just won World War II very quickly with the Soviet Union, and we have many opportunities ahead for potential expansion. Once again, if you're interested in seeing some of these additional challenges for the Soviet Union, you can ask to do so in the comments. I'll be completely honest with you, the Soviet Union is not my favorite country to play. It's not really my style, it's too big. I like to play small, powerful countries rather than huge ones with maluses to the armies. Yet, this was fun, so if you're interested, I will continue and play more Soviet Union for other challenges. In the peace conference, what I suggest doing is taking the navies of as many opponents as possible, and then puppeting whatever you can. The situation after the peace conference may look a bit like this, so a bit of a mess, of course. But just to be clear, all of this part of Europe is now under our control. So yeah, pretty good situation. And we have this little bit of land to connect our Netherlands to the rest of our land in Europe. Again, you can start your setup for future expansions from here. Now, to end this video, there is one last thing that I would like to say. I know this is a tough time for Russia and for Russians. It is a difficult topic. I don't want to give my opinion. I don't want to talk about the war. I just want to say that while I played as the Soviet Union, well, I thought about it a lot. So you were in my thoughts. Okay, I know there are some of my viewers from those regions. That's all. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.